eternally shrouded in the mists of Antiquin. The sacred spirit of our rivers and mountains was already silently coalescing amidst the towering peaks and vast seas. From the lineage of immortals and dragons, the roots of our nation were established. From the solemn vow to expand our frontiers, a long and enduring legacy was forged for the Lac Viet people. The reign of the first Hung King was akin to the first light of dawn breaking over the mountain peaks. Its glow still tender, yet its power already immense. He founded the kingdom of Van Lang, uniting disparate tribes into a single entity, and bound the hearts of the people together through the sacred bond of brotherhood. In those days, the forests were deep, the waters vast, and the population sparse. Yet the resolve to build a nation was anything but small. Even before the bronze drums began to resonate, the very soul of the rivers and mountains was already woven into the breath of every citizen. When a dynasty embarks upon its great enterprise, its true merit lies not merely in the high seat of power, but in ensuring that future generations will have a place to call with deep affection their homeland. In concluding this opening passage, let me offer a single reflection. Though the reign of the first Hung King may seem as distant and elusive as the ancient myths, it stands as the very first pillar upholding the celestial canopy of the Vietnamese nation. The second Hung King, succeeding his royal predecessor, faced a task no longer focused on the act of inception, but rather on safeguarding the newly planted roots, ensuring they would not be torn from the sacred soil. As the ancients observed, founding a nation is difficult, but preserving it is 10 times harder. For that which has only just taken shape is ever vulnerable to the buffeting winds of change. The generation of the Hung Dynasty understood the wisdom of governing through virtue, to bring peace to the populace and employ propriety to harmonize the various tribes, thereby gradually accustoming the people's hearts to the concept of a shared national identity. The fields and paddies expanded, the riverbanks bustled with activity, and the calls exchanged between farmers in the highlands gradually began to resonate with the shared spirit of Van Lang. The merit of a successor is not always as blazing as a roaring fire. Often, it is simply the steady flame of a lamp, tending the fire so that the initial spark of creation does not flicker out amidst the long, dark watches of the night. Thus, while the reign of the second Hung King may not have been as dramatically illustrious as the epoch of the nation's founding, it holds a unique and precious value, that of quietly laying the enduring foundation upon which countless future generations would stand. For a nation to endure, it must first learn the vital lesson of standing firm and steadfast in the days that followed its initial rise to greatness. By the third generation, the realm had taken on the enduring contours of the land itself. Thus, the ruler at its helm was compelled to look even further ahead, beyond the span of a single harvest season. When the people had mastered the plow and the villages had learned to convene their markets, it was then that the royal court had to learn how to tend to the daily sustenance and well-being of the populace. The Hung King of that era secured his dominion through the hearts of his people. He did not seek to suppress them through brute force, but rather ancient monarchs rarely lay in lofty rhetoric, but rather in the practical wisdom to ensure that the crops never failed and that the riverbanks never knew sorrow. The third generation unfolded like a melody amidst a long spring, neither too fierce nor too harsh, but gradually weaving itself into the very fabric of the people's way of life. From that moment on, the national lineage ceased to be a mere abstract concept, transforming instead into a tangible warmth felt deep within the daily lives of the common folk. The fourth generation dawned as distant tribes grew accustomed to journeying to the royal court to pay homage, and as the myriad forest paths gradually grew familiar with the footsteps of royal envoys. For a dynasty to endure, it cannot merely remain centered upon itself. It must also ensure that all surrounding regions recognize